organization. They're playing with some new platforms, trying to get for better communications. And there was some training that's available to new commissioners as to what SHAC is and how you can be active in SHAC. The Commissioner of Health came. She did a report of some of the legislative things that she is working on, but I shared earlier, and I'll share again, is that I did ask her if she was part of the governor's proposal to offer free breakfast and lunch to kids, and she said no, she wasn't. And I was disappointed that she hadn't been consulted at all, because in our framework of workings, public health is in charge of like WIC, which is women, infant, and children. It's in charge of children's health. It's in charge of obesity. And as I was driving to Minneapolis, St. Paul area, I had an article on the radio that childhood obesity is going to probably double in the next 10 to 15 years. And that's problematic to me. We're teaching, we're going to hand out food to kids. It's got to be the right stuff and the nutritional value so that they create good life habits. And I'm afraid we may not be doing the best job at that. So I did ask her to take a more active role in that legislation initiative. She said she would. Not that she doesn't have enough other things to do, but she said she would. And others on the committee agreed with me that, our kids are our future. And if we start, giving them the wrong foods and it doesn't work. So I did ask her to work on that. And that group meets like bi-monthly, whereas the SHAC meets quarterly. So it's a unique, important role that counties have with a state agency. It doesn't exist in any other agency. So I do appreciate that. Anybody have anything else? Oh, one of the big things too is, and Karen would probably know better, of course, with the end of the emergency declarations and everything, the immunizations, the vaccines, the test kits and everything, it's all going to change. And so some people that got things for free, that's probably not going to exist anymore, or it may be more challenging. So moving forward with any kind of programs, although I saw an ad on the TV today, if you're on Medicare, you can still get 8 free tests shipped to your home free, absolutely no charge. The government's still paying for Medicare COVID tests if somebody needs them, if you're on Medicare. Karen, is there anything else that you need to?
The other thing I wanted to share is that they are stating that the public health emergency will end on May 11th. And so we are doing a lot of research and background and meetings trying to figure out, because some programs have no transition period, some have a 30-day period, some have 60-day period, some have a 90-day period, where we will continue to transition from COVID public health emergency down to back to normal operations. So, and that's not just public health, that is across all health and human services, with all of our programs. So it's a lot of work, and we're looking forward to kind of getting back to business as usual. I just wanted to provide an update to the county board that I continue to work on research and background regarding community health boards and things like that. I want to meet with Administrator Pulte to begin more of a discussion about that and recommendations. And then we will be able to come forward to maybe the advisory committee first before we would bring that back anywhere. So yes, otherwise, yes, you are correct in stating that they are saying that free tests are available through Medicare and some Medicaid up until that May 11th time period. But then after that, also vaccines, everything will be, there will be a fee or a charge or a process through insurance. So.
Great. Yes. And I did say that if they could get Martha Stewart to come do some ads for us locally, we would take that. I don't know if you've ever seen her ad where she's hacking the top of a pineapple off with some samurai sword. It's some COVID vaccination ad. I mean, of course, that's private entities hiring Martha Stewart to do ads for them. I'll have to watch closer what she's really selling next time. All right, moving on. 4.1, approve the CDC Federal Infrastructure Grant Agreement. And that was on page 28 of our agenda. And that has to do with, Karen, do you want to highlight what that is about?
Sure. The Centers for Disease Control have given each state's allocations for public health infrastructure grants. And then each state distributes them throughout their system structure, where ours are counties and community health boards. And so infrastructure grants, just there's a pretty broad use with these funds. We can use them for training, we can use them for staffing, we can use them for recruitments, we can use it for just a wide variety of things and that are outlined within the grant agreement itself. There is an informational meeting coming up on March 31st that we will be attending. We have not determined how we are going to spend the funds, but at this time we're just asking that the Community Health Board recommend accepting the grant to be able to move forward with the planning of that.
I'll move to approve that.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion made by Commissioner Meyer, second by Commissioner Vagley to approve accepting the grant. Any other discussion? Just one thing I would encourage you to do. I know Representative Pulowski, being head of higher ed, he was talking about really tying into some of the community colleges and getting younger students involved in the health care industry and free tuitions and things like that. So I would definitely want to put some of that, because we're talking about workforce and recruiting and training and everything. So I don't know if he's got a specific plan or if that was just a first step, but I would be interested in what he has and if he has any resources to go along with that, because we got a technical college here that could help us out locally.
Yeah. I think that some of that might be maybe more appropriate through the Workforce Development Board.
Okay.
That is, we are part of, obviously, just
Right.
because that is really something, how to really funnel that money. I forget the program. Winona County gave Southeast Minnesota State University, Southeast, an allocation of ARPA funds. And so they are currently, the name of the program is leaving me. Help Me Train, I believe it's called, to be able to provide some of that free education. It is in regards into healthcare, but those free opportunities or some tuition reimbursement is out there, but we can continue to encourage that.
Yeah, well, we need to use our dollars and make it grow as best we can. So thank you. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. All right, thank you. Then any other business to come before the Public Health Board? If not,
I'll move to adjourn. Second.
motion made by Commissioner Vagley, second by Commissioner Olson to adjourn. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed nay. All right,
Thanks, everybody, for coming. We start our meeting with a public comment period. So if there are individuals here in the audience that would like to share their thoughts with us, please step forward. I will remind you that we do have a 2-minute limit. Please try to keep your comments to 2 minutes, and please tell us your name and address.
My name is Jerry O'Bigelow. Address is 84 Saratoga Court, Winona, Minnesota. Last week I was trying to put last board meeting, I was trying to put something together. Basically, what I'm talking about is the monitoring system in the jail. To the court, and what I meant by to the court, back when I started this, would have been Judge Collins, Judge Johnson, and Judge Thompson sat down with me about the monitoring system. I wanted them to be on board with what we planned on doing in jail. And I promised them it would be affordable and it would be reliable. So if it don't stay affordable and reliable, you guys are making me look bad. They're gonna say, you know what, that guy's pretty tenacious. He's going thinking he's still got to keep his promise from way back. Well, I am, and I'm looking out for the clients who I dealt with and be incarcerated, and I don't think they should be overcharged. And if this services also includes people that are going to be funded by a grant, now you're digging in my pocket. So please consider if you have a contract or whatever you worked out, maybe you should open it up to both. So let them pay, but don't make them pay more than they have to. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Richard Aarons. I live at 200 West Main Street, Lewiston, Minnesota. In January and August of 2021, the county board passed resolutions authorizing the county highway department to acquire portions of my property through the use of the power of eminent domain. This was done without my knowledge, and no attempt was made to notify me. The project was for a proposed road realignment of County Road 30 and 31 adjacent to our farm in Whitewater Township. Just a few weeks ago, on February 28th, the board passed a resolution to begin an environmental review of this project. The county zoning ordinance clearly states that authorizations for a project may not be made by this board until after the completion of an environmental review. I know with everything that comes before you, as members of the board, you're trusting at some level that staff brings these resolutions to you in the appropriate sequence. Unfortunately, statutes have not been followed here. The resolutions from 2021 authorizing the acquisition of my property needs to be rescinded. Also, the board and the county attorney need to work with the county highway department to form an appropriate process for carrying out these projects. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioners. My name is Tim Aarons. I'm at 12969 County Road 31, Altura. I'll be speaking again tonight about the proposed county road realignment that's adjacent to my home. And again, with procedural concerns related to how the preparation of the potential project's been conducted. In 2021, board passed 2 resolutions that would authorize the Winona County Highway Department to begin the acquisitions of portions of the property where I live on County Road 30 and 31. And just a month or so ago, the board voted to set in motion formal environmental review of that exact project. I see that as problematic based upon my understanding of statute and ordinance. And also I believe that moving forward with the authorization to acquire property before conducting environmental review violates 2 very important principles of government: due process and due diligence. In terms of due process, the public, especially adjacent property owners and directly affected stakeholders, deserve the opportunity to inform themselves of the information gathered during the environmental review process in order to make informed comment at the time of any permits or authorizations. And secondly, I believe you as a board have a responsibility and to due diligence. When environmental review is required, it's your duty and responsibility to consider the information from that review and making any authorizations related to the project. We should be able to recognize, I think, that there's an error in sequence when you make a decision a couple of years ago and then do the research that would inform that decision this year. And I just hope we can work together to correct that error and get this project on a better track. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Andy Ventura. I live at 764 West Broadway in Winona. And I have a question that I hope can be answered in the future. Given that the events in East Palestine, Ohio, with that horrible train derailment and pollution, does the county have a comprehensive plan to monitor rail traffic and respond to an emergency, which we hope will never happen, but do they have response, a response in place? Thank you.
Is there anyone else here in the audience? And individuals who are participating over Ring Central on the internet, you are also welcome to participate in public comment. If you could unmute yourself.
Hello,
Yep, please. Can you tell us your name and address and then go ahead with your comments?
my name is Bruce Lamette with Cam Systems, 18379 Marie Drive, Houston, Minnesota. Thanks for taking the time to hear my concerns. On February 28th at the county board meeting, on the agenda was a contract for health and human services for monitoring. I was not allowed by the county to bid on this contract and express my concerns. This was tabled after that discussion. I also was told to contact the county and present to them. I have made several calls with no avail to the county attorney. The head of Health and Human Services finally did call me back and told me to submit a bid. I asked her what was she looking for and was not given a defined answer. Therefore, I cannot submit a proper bid. I also asked, was there a reason I was not allowed to bid? She told me yes, and you need to speak to the county attorney about it. I have left several messages for the county attorney, and she has not to this day returned one single call. I also after 13 years of doing business with the county, I have not been reprimanded for my services. So the facts of the contract that was on that agenda, the top two devices used are alcohol breath and GPS monitoring. And posted in that contract on that agenda to be accepted by the company that would charge $12 a day for breath alcohol, I charge $7 for that same service. That's a 42% increase in paid services from the county. For GPS monitoring, that company charges $14 a day. I charge $7 a day. That's a 50% increase in services paid by the county. They also charge a $50 hookup fee, which I do not charge in any of my services. So taking the two percentages, that's a 40% increase in services alone without hookup fees, and that's not to include any of the other services I haven't brought up. I must ask you as an elected official, are you comfortable telling the people that voted for you and you want to vote for you again, this is how you'll be wasteful with their money? So in the end, the figures that you were given to the amount spent in the past will raise by 40%, 46% plus hookup fees. Thank you for your time, your service, and what you do for Winona County to make it a better place.
Thank you.
Also, I did send that in an email to all the board members.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here in the audience or participating over the internet that would like to make a public comment? Is there anyone else here in the audience or participating over the internet that would like to make a public comment? And for the final time, is there anyone here in the audience or participating over the internet that would like to participate in the public comment period? Hearing none, public comment is closed and we move on to our regular agenda. First item is approval of the prior county board minutes.
Say anything about the closed session?
I can read the thing. I thought it was optional.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we had to do it.
We had a closed session earlier prior to our public health meeting. And so I am going to read the following to you. That meeting was closed as was permitted by the attorney-client privilege pursuant to Minnesota statute section 13B.05 subdivision 3B. And it was to discuss the following matters: the Daily Farms, the Minnesota RFL caucus lawsuit, the multi-state opioid lawsuits, and litigation strategy for proposed HHS contracts. Okay, so moving on, next item is approval of previous county board minutes.
I'll move to approve the meetings for the last meeting.
A second.
Okay, Commissioner Vegley has moved, Commissioner Ward has seconded approval of the county board minutes from March 14th of 2023. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, would all those in favor please signify by saying aye?
Aye.
If anyone's opposed, they can say nay. Motion carries. Next item is consent comments and approval of agenda. Commissioner Ward.
I would like to pull 8.1 just for some clarification. So if we could make that under general business.
Sure, we can make that 9.00.
And that should take care of me tonight. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Wolf,
Nothing for me.
Commissioner Vegley.
No, thank you.
Administrator Holte or Attorney Sonneman?
Nothing, Madam Chair.
I have a request for board action and I have just two updates. So we'd be ready to move forward if someone would like to move to approve the agenda as it's been modified.
So move.
I'll second that.
Okay, Commissioner Vegley, Commissioner Ward has moved and Commissioner Vegley has seconded changes the approval of the agenda with the changes noted. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Is anyone opposed? Say nay. Motion carries. Administrator Holte, could you read the consent agenda for the record, please?
Yes. 8.1 has been pulled. 8.2 approved CDC Federal Infrastructure Grant Agreement. 8.3 approved purchase of service and business associate agreements with Partners in Excellence for children's mental health targeted case management. 8.4 award bid for 2023 chip seal project to Scott Construction. 8.5 approved Take Our Daughters and Sons to Work Day. 8.6 adopt Minnesota Merit System Equal Opportunity and Affirmative Action Guidelines. 8.7 approve resolution for DNR Outdoor Recreation Grant final submittal for Apple Blossom Park. 8.8 approve 2023 solid waste hauler and facility license applications. 8.9 approve gun range agreement with Winona Police Department. 8.10 authorize disposal of excess furniture and equipment. 8.11 approve 2022 restricted and assigned reserves. 8.12 confirm payment of disbursements.
Thank you. In order to move forward, we would need to have a motion to approve the consent business.
So moved. I'll second that.
Okay, Commissioner Olson has moved, Commissioner Vagley has seconded. Approval of the consent business as it was read. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
If anyone's opposed, nay. Motion carries. We move on to general business. Item 8.1, approve resolution of established ballot boards, which is now 9.00. Commissioner Ward?
Yeah, just a question, and I think Ms. Wilbright is in the audience. So we need to establish this for the county boards commissioner race and stuff. Okay. And this is a list of those that participated last election?
More narrow than last time. We only have 16 precincts in this election, so I didn't feel it was necessary to have as many as we did last time. There are a few county staff on there because UOCAVAs and those type of things will be approved day of as soon as we receive them.
Uh-huh.
So that's why those are on there. The rest is a party balance, either of the list posted to the Secretary of State's office or for the party that did not post a list, I reached out to their.
Okay, so,
For Winona County.
okay, so both parties are represented in these names and everything. Now, can you yourself be on the ballot board?
I believe so. I'm not on the ballot.
Okay, all right. I guess you're the overseer of the whole process. Okay,
I
all right.
wouldn't be on one of the teams necessarily, but if UOCAVA, and we have myself and Katie in the office, I believe so.
Okay. All right, I'm just
I can
asking.
Reach out on that too.
I'm just, I didn't know if the auditor, the existing auditor treasurer could be on the ballot board. I don't know. I'm just
Right.
asking. Okay, so if you can clarify that, that would be great. Okay, and as long as it's party balanced and they all did receive the training?
Yes.
Okay, so they're good to go. Okay, so I would move to approve a resolution to establish the ballot board.
I'll second that.
Commissioner Ward has moved and Commissioner Vagley has seconded. Item 9.00 to approve a resolution establishing ballot boards. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Item 9.1 is to discuss the reappointment of the county engineer. Administrator Holte.
So this is just a proactive measure. As you know, the county engineer comes up for reappointment every 4 years. So he is due in May. And to give you an ample opportunity, whether or not you wanted to have discussion regarding the reappointment, so that's why I put it on in advance. I am not aware of any reason that we would have a concern with the performance of Mr. Kramer, but I wanted to give you an opportunity if you so desire to have a discussion.
Commissioner Ward?
Just a general question of all our department heads. Have you done a performance review of our current department heads in the last 6 months or year?
Most of them.
All right. And so Mr. Kramer has had,
He has
you
had a
said you
review.
saw nothing and, okay, and you feel that was a good review.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
I'll move to approve the reappointment of Mr. Kramer. Second.
Commissioner Bagley has moved, Commissioner Olson has seconded reappointment of Mr. David Kramer to County Engineer. Is there any further discussion? Commissioner Ward?
I do have a question just to clarify. There's no significant pay raise or anything. The county highway engineer is on a grid, just like all our other union positions.
Correct. He's on the department head association wage scale.
Okay,
And yes, it's already established and this is not associated with
with
that.
that. Okay,
If I may, commissioners,
Please proceed.
just a note that this was really just to discuss it.
right.
A
not to-
resolution will be forthcoming in May for you to actually approve the resolution because you do have to set it by resolution to reappoint him.
Okay.
Okay, just so
So
you
just-
have an understanding on that.
So the motion is to move the item forward
Yeah.
for a future resolution?
Mhm.
Or we can withdraw the motion.
Yeah, either way.
I think it makes sense to withdraw it and just do it again in May. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's okay.
Resolution.
Thank
Right.
you.
Right. In this case, the motion is withdrawn and we will move on unless there's further discussion. Hearing none, item 9.2 is to approve a resolution to support and agree to amend Minnesota State Subdivision Memorandum of Agreement and Authorization Execution of Approval of Multi-State Opioid Settlement.
To get up on the table, I'll move to approve the resolution and to support the settlement.
I'll second it, but I would like Attorney Sonneman to give us her 5-minute elevator speech to let the public know what we're doing here.
Sounds good.
Please. You want to put the timer up?
You get 2 minutes. So,
No,
I'm
you get
teasing.
5.
I gave you 5. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Commissioners, this is a request to ask for your approval of the a resolution that would allow, or that would, where you would approve what I call round 2. There was round 1, if you recall, in December of 2022, where the national opioid settlement, there was a settlement reached between all the states, and Minnesota would receive a certain amount of money. And so the Attorney General of the state of Minnesota, Keith Ellison, had essentially opened it up to a settlement discussion with all the counties and cities of a certain size to discuss how that money would be distributed. And so rather than it being distributed on a grant basis, which was the original proposal, a group was named that included myself, the county attorney, Freeman from Hennepin County, Ramsey County Attorney John Choi, and Julie Ring from AMC, several state legislators, and some other representatives of the League of Minnesota Cities. We met with the Attorney General's office. This was prior to the December agreement, and worked out a deal where there would be direct allocation to counties and cities of 75% of that first round, and 25% would go to the state, which was quite extraordinary compared to what some of the other states had negotiated. So, and so Winona County would receive a portion of that settlement, which you then approved in December of 2022. There was a second settlement that was then presented, and I joined that group as well. In fact, it was the same group. And this involved mostly pharmacies that are listed there. This was the second settlement of the national multi-jurisdiction litigation. And so again, we reached an agreement that there would be this direct allocation to cities and counties, and the percentage allocation to Winona County would stay the same, and that's 0.7755 and a whole bunch of other numbers. But the bottom line was that the total to Winona County of these two settlements if everybody joined, meaning all the cities and all the counties that are eligible in Minnesota. Winona County would receive approximately about $3 million. And the settlement monies from the first settlement have already started being distributed. In fact, we've had to report on those dollars. We haven't spent them yet, but we have to report on them.
And that's over
18 years.
18 years.
Yeah,
just so
it
people-
started,
yeah.
right, yeah.
Yes, please, thank
Yeah,
you.
18 years, and so each allocation would be, there would be a yearly distribution. And there's some more out there too. I mean, there may be a third settlement, possibly a fourth, but anyways, these are the major ones. So in order to maximize the settlement amount that everybody gets in the state of Minnesota, just like we did before in the first round, we're, when I say we, it's county attorneys and city administrators and all are presenting, because we have to make a decision by April 18th to adopt this in order to maximize the money. So I'm asking you to approve the resolution to support and agree to this amended settlement that again covers most of these, it covers the listed pharmacies, and authorizing me as your attorney to sign the paperwork, which is an electronic, and a copy of that is in your packet. And it is a little confusing. There's parts of the packet show a edited version with the lines across, and there's an actual clean version at the end. But that was how I received it from the National Settlement Administrator. So I want to make sure you got everything. So I'm asking that you approve this so that we can meet that April 18th deadline. As soon as it's approved and the resolution signed, I will get on the computer and sign us up for our $1.3 million additional there. So
That sounds great. If what we got originally was like 1.6 million,
about
and that was about
1.7,
90,000, 100,000 a year.
Mhm.
So this is going to be like
a
another
little
80
extra on top of it.
thousand, right? So not quite double, but 80%.
Right.
That's excellent.
Right.
A lot-
Do
can
we
do a
get
lot of good with
interest?
Well,
18 years is a long
think-
time
I
to
think
stretch
so.
out the
It'll-
payments.
The state holds the monies that come from the national administrator, and there may be interest because, right, it's sitting there for over 18 years. So there may be some, and I was surprised to see that actually the amounts, and Pat Moga's here, I think. Where did he go? There he is, our finance director. The amounts that we've received so far are more than I thought we would, at least initially, but.
Right, but they actually did that like for the first 3-4 years payments. So
Okay.
they're
Oh, it's
combining
higher.
it, so we won't get some for a while.
But we will
Okay.
start getting these once we sign off, so it'll be an additional, so, yeah. And it's, as you've seen in the packet, and the public can read the packet too, there's some specific things that this can be spent on. It's not an exclusive list, as it says, but the point is to fund abatement measures, but abatement measures covers a lot of different public areas, and the county has created a group that will be meeting first on Friday to start talking about the allocations of these funds.
Mr. Moga.
I was just gonna mention, we have about 300,000, I think, in the bank right now for opiate dollars that have come in, just like Maureen had, this whole thing said, that I think we are getting payments from different vendors, and one of the vendors or individuals, there was like 5 payments, so they made 5 of the payments versus making 1 payment. And then I think we got money from, I think 2 or 3 other vendors, and there's one, I had to do the reporting for last year. There was one payment that we did receive that they actually want to know how we're actually spending the money. The others are saying they're not, that they're not concerned, and we don't have to do a special report for that one. We do.
Well, and I think there's actually reporting that we have to do to the, it's to the State Department of Human Services, but it's also to the Attorney General's office, but I've provided that information to Mr. Moga. So we're in good standing.
Commissioner Bagley.
First of all, two things. Thank you to County Attorney Soneman for all of her proactive work on this. You weren't sitting passively by waiting. You were one of the leaders in the state on
Took the
this.
initiative, yep.
Thank you so much for doing that. And it might sound like a lot of money, and it is a lot of money, almost $3 million over 18 years, but it's just a drop in the bucket. We're going to try to right a big wrong here in terms of what's happened to our country, to families, in terms of law enforcement, social services, addiction issues, et cetera. So it may sound like a lot, but it's just a drop in the bucket compared to the damage that's been done. But again, I want to thank County Attorney Soneman for all of her work on this, because this Minnesota is an example of how it should be done in terms of, like Commissioner Ward has said this too, about directing the funds directly to the counties as opposed to having it all go to the state capital. So.
Is there any further discussion?
Well, just if anybody out there on the internet or here in the audience, the document actually lists things that you can do and
Correct.
strategies and everything. So people that aren't familiar with it, they can see what, this kind of program looks like.
Right, and they can see what other counties and cities are receiving, and I did break down the monies in the agenda item. It shows what we're receiving as a state, but also what Winona County is receiving in terms of the settlement agreement. Or I'm sorry, what the state will do from each of these pharmacies.
Okay. Good work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the resolution for the second part of the opioid settlement, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 9.3, discuss, provide direction regarding start time change to evening county board meetings. Commissioner Ward.
Well, we brought this up and my intent was to hopefully make better use of staff time, because they're just kind of having to hang out for us to come to our meeting. And I thought we heard, and you did a poll, and the majority approved of moving the business portion of our meeting to, I'm looking for it on the agenda, to 6 o'clock.
Yep.
Correct.
Okay. And then if we have a committee of the board, that will be prior to. So again, better use of staff time and everything. So I will move to adjust our meeting times accordingly.
I'll second that.
Commissioner Ward has moved and Commissioner Bagley has seconded, approving a change of start times to evening county board meetings. The board meeting itself will be moved to 6 p.m. instead of 7, and committee of the board at 5. Is there any further discussion?
Is there any new information in terms of staff feedback? There was a quick short poll that was done last time. Was there any other feedback?
Not to my knowledge. We could check with Heidi. Heidi?
I've not heard anything from staff about it, other than what we discussed last time. And the other important piece of this puzzle is, of course, how it affects the community in terms of, and we'll see how it goes. And if it doesn't work, we can adjust it again in the future. But there'll probably be some people who will be confused for a while, but hopefully they'll get figured out. So
Heidi is on now. Do you want to answer?
And no further polls were taken.
okay, well, we can try and see how it goes.
Kind of like daylight savings, huh?
Yeah, we're gonna try. Well, we could only,
Warren savings time.
if we could so easily change that too. And it doesn't preclude us if we, we have in the past had very large public hearings. They can be set independently of our board meeting,
Yep.
which they normally would be. And again, we will keep the Ring Central option there. I mean, we can see that people participate by that, and that's a plus for them.
And maybe the media and the county can do press releases just to publicize it and share it out, just so folks know going forward. There will be some hiccups along the way at first, but just get the word out.
Yeah, I got to change my calendar. Sure, I'm here.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of this motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion carries. Item 9.4 is to receive the monthly finance and budget update for December of 2022.
Good evening, we provide the update for December. Yeah.
Here it comes.
That's okay.
I'll be providing the numbers for December. In the revenue department, cash started at 5.8 million, actual revenues are 2.1, actual expenses are 2.4, and the cash balance is $15.5 million. For the years, for the whole year, it started out, cash started at 14.8 million, actual revenues were 21.7 million, actual expenditures were 20.9 million. Ending cash is 15.5. The variance in that general fund or revenue fund was positive 757 compared to in 2021, 487 positive. For the grand totals, 547 positive compared to 514. Any questions on this document? If none, now we'll go to the summary document. Beginning cash starts at 19 million. Actual revenues are 44.2 million. Actual expenses are 43.8 million. Ending cash is 19.5 million. Variance is the 475 compared to last year's 514. Questions there? Now we'll go to the summary budget. Summary budget through December, we're 100% through the year. Looking at the departments, most departments were, close to the 100% or at a little bit over, but nothing really is standing out through the whole year. For the interest, we thought we were going to bring in 180,000. We ended up with 221,000. Any questions on this document?
It's good, but I think we can do better. And I don't know, Pat, that you get this. It's in our, and Ms. Holte, are you getting this now? Our new county?
County news.
Yeah, the county news.
Yeah.
And so are you getting it? Okay. And Pat, I don't know if you get this, but it's the whole idea. And we've talked about this when I sit on the MCIT board, because we got a lot more money there because we're doing all the, 81 counties is, our investments and how we make them cover, grow. And so it's, and I can leave this for you, Pat. It's called the Delta Factor. It's about active and passive investing. And it's figuring out your cash flows when you can. And right now is a great time. I mean, short-term, CDs are yielding much higher than they have for quite a long time. And you can make, we got to be able to make as much money as we can. So I would hope between Ms. Holte, Pat Moga, and Chelsea Wilbright that we can come up with, maximize our interest. And I will leave this for you. But
Yeah, sounds good. And I know that Chelsea, Auditor Treasurer, is actually looking at some of the investments, and she's talking about how much our investments are so much better right now than they
Right.
have been in the past.
I mean, even short-term personal savings accounts are paying much more than they did just, 6 months ago and stuff. So yeah, we got to make every, penny.
Ms. Wilbright, come.
Yeah, come on
up to the
up.
podium and tell us. Yeah. So we get you on the record.
Yeah.
Chelsea Wilbright. The rates have been quoted lately, have been around the 5 mark for things ranging from 6. We can't go beyond 3 years because that's where our investment policy
Right.
stops. But they're around the 5 mark. And I actually met with you can call him a broker, but today looking at different things, and I'll speak more with Administrator Holte on this and that. But it would make my life easier for balancing because I could still work with Multibank and Wells Fargo's advisors for any particular CDs that they may only offer, but they would all be on one statement. So instead of pulling from 4 different places for all of our CDs and trying to balance at the end of the month, it would all be on one statement. So
Although sometimes you got to go shopping.
too.
Yeah.
Right,
Although
right.
sometimes you got to go
Feel free
shopping.
To do that.
Yeah.
But,
Yep.
we just house it all under one.
Okay, but I will leave this article for both of you. I thought it was timely.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
So I had three things. The first is a request for board action. Phil Huerta is the director of ASAP. Now I'm drawing a blank. It's
Alliance
against.
for Substance Abuse and Prevention.
There you go. Commissioner Ward, he would like to come to either our next committee of the board or the one after that and give us a presentation on where things are with the legalization of cannabis. In order to get it on that agenda, I need someone to give me a second.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay.
Sure.
And then I had two announcements.
It may already be passed by then, though, you realize.
Yeah, well,
It's
yeah, well,
the way things are moving at the
we
legislature.
can learn about the consequences.
Yeah.
And then I had two good things to talk to you about. Sheila Harms, the county water planner, provided these with me, for me. The WinLAC One Watershed One Plan was approved by Bowser at the state. So we are now in line for implementation in the next 10 years. So I just wanted to let you know that. And Administrator Holte, I'm going to give you I'll give you my copy when we go. The second thing, and I don't know who else got this, but it was addressed to you, Commissioner Ward, but then it was forwarded to me because I'm the chair. And this is from the Commissioner Harpstead of Health and Human Services, and it's congratulating our Health
Came
and
through the other day.
our Health and Human Services Department for getting their quarterly fiscal reports for programs submitted on time. And they list what the 8 programs are. I know this accomplishment requires planning and efficient operation and teamwork within your county Human Services Department. The result is timely revenue for your county and compliance with federal reporting for us at the state. Please congratulate your management and staff on this superb effort. So I want to thank the administrator. I want to thank Health and Human Services Director Karen Santos and her staff for all of their hard work. That's it.
Also to adjourn.
Did Commissioner Ward, did you have anything? No, you didn't.
No,
No.
no.
She pulled an
It-
item,
It
yeah.
got, it got covered.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, Commissioner Olson's moved, Commissioner Vagley's second at adjournment. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
We agree then.
You get this?